Toronto Maple Leafs have made multiple shocking moves as we are now a bit over 24 hours away from the Leafs start of what's going to be one of the craziest playoff runs and most important in recent memory. We have a ton of moves being made, and we have some crucial updates surrounding a ton of key players, including one particular update to OEL that has fans absolutely fired up. We're going to break that down and discuss what this means going forward. But before we get into it, if you're part of the 71% who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Leafs content. So make sure to stay tuned for all the videos, all postseason long into the off-season, everything like that. So make sure that subscribe button. Darius, a ton to go over today. And we have an update surrounding OEL, Jake McCabe, Max Pacioretty, everybody. And we finally got the big news dump we've been looking for. Let's dive right into it here. Let's start with the good news. And there's a bunch of different things here to go over. So Max Domi is going to be sticking on the line with John Tavares and William Nylander for game one. So obviously the big question mark coming into this game particularly was A, will Max Pacioretty play? And then B, what is the health of this team as it pertains to the defenseman? And let's dive into what the lines were at practice today. You have Nyes, Matthews, Marner, Domi, Tavares, Nylander, McMahon, Holmberg, Robertson, Lorentz, Lawton, and Yarncroke. So they are not changing. Like I said in yesterday's video, which I kind of said that they might be doing this, they're not changing a single thing surrounding this team. They are rocking it as is. And the defense group, which we'll get into in a minute, is interesting. But yeah, they're rocking Holmberg on the third line. So Holmberg, Robertson, and Yarncroke are all factoring in with Camp out, albeit healthy, and Max Pacioretty out, even though he is healthy as well.
Yeah, and there was a lot of speculation the last couple of days. In the last couple of videos, we were saying, what are the Leafs going to do with the lineup? Could it be Robertson coming out, right? Pacioretty might be coming in. Who is it going to be for? Is it Yarncroke? We were all speculating about what was going to happen because we don't actually know what they're thinking behind the scenes, and they don't know we don't know who's actually ready and who's not, right? But I think Craig Berube is going with the best case scenario, which is don't touch anything because you've been winning a bunch of games in the past little while. So it makes a lot of sense from that point of view. Now, I do think there's a lot of guys waiting in the wings like a Max Pacioretty that, if anything goes south or they're not playing well and Ottawa's really taking it to them early in the series all of a sudden, or they need a spark, Max Pacioretty could come in, so he could be an option. So it's not that they won't play at all, some of these reserves in the series, like a David Camp, for example. But to start the series, I kind of like this, that Craig Berube is saying, you know what, we've been playing well. Why would we change anything coming into the playoffs? Let's just keep rolling with the roster that we have. Everything's been flowing. And on Nick Robertson specifically, I'm sure we'll touch on Max Pacioretty a little bit more, but on Nick Robertson specifically, the last half of this season, he's been playing great, and I've been a big supporter of his the entire time. Everybody knows who's been subscribed since last offseason, even before that. Big supporter of Nick Robertson. He's been playing great. We know what he can do offensively, right? But now he's adding a different element to his game, which is the physicality and a little bit of snarl. Like, he's playing with a chip on his shoulder right now. He's throwing hits. Last weekend against Montreal Canadiens, threw 3 big hits, and he's playing the type of hockey that you can win with in the playoffs. So until he doesn't do that, or if the Leafs need some type of spark and he's just the casualty of that, I think he's going to stay in the lineup. So I do like a lot of these moves. Domi kind of makes sense with Tavares and Nylander for the time being. They've kind of found something there. And I think, we're going to touch on it here in just a few minutes. The defense is very interesting.
Yeah, and obviously, if they lose game one or lose game two, there might be some changes there. As you can see in the tweet that I had while you were speaking, Max Pacioretty and Camp are both available. So they are both healthy and ready to go. So it's going to be interesting. As you look at some of the power play units, very similar to 5 forwards. And of course, you have one, and this is interesting now. You have one with Domi, McMahon, Robertson, Riley, and OEL. Of course, 2 defensemen. But as it pertains to the defensemen now, this report came out that from Mark Masters that both Jake McCabe and OEL are trending to return to the lineup for game one. And of course, we know, and you can see in the lineups here, it's Riley, Carlo, McCabe, Tanev, OEL, Benoit. So the pairings that they found that worked perfectly. Also note that Yanni Hakanpää wasn't even on the ice today. So that's an interesting one, and we'll leave that for up for speculation. But the big thing here is, moments ago, about 5 or 10 minutes ago, prior to recording this, Jake McCabe has been confirmed in. So that is fantastic news. And we'll obviously dive into that. He said he's ready to rock, and he is, of course, he's healthy. He has confirmed that he's 100% playing, but OEL said that he's not sure at this moment if he's going to be playing. Now, of course, he was on ice. He was on the ice. He was a part of the lines, but this is a little bit, I'll say a little bit concerning. I'll say it there. It's great McCabe is back. However, I would argue he's the more important player out of the two. Obviously, no disrespect to OEL, but out of the two, if you wanted one, I would choose Jake McCabe. But OEL seems to be I guess we'll go with a game time decision, which is interesting because we are, you're at the point now where you'd figure if he was on the ice, all these different things. So it could be some mind games. But OEL did recently say just moments ago that he is, I guess, questionable is the best way to put it for the game tomorrow.
Could be some mind games. I think it could be that he is still dealing with something like a nagging injury, although that doesn't sound great. And we'll touch on McCabe in a second, but that doesn't sound great. Like, hey, the day before, I'm still a game time decision. I'm not sure, even though I'm skating. Like, that doesn't really give me too much confidence, even if he does play, because you know that he's dealing with something. But Jake McCabe being back, that's a huge boost for the Leafs. Like, he's clearly the guy that you need back on the defensive end there to play with McCabe. That's going to be a shutdown pair for the team. And he is confirmed in. He said he's ready to rock and roll. We kind of knew that the whole time that he would be back. We were told that he would be back before the season ended, but obviously the way that they were playing, there's no need to panic. You already clinched the division. No need for him to play until game one, obviously. So a little bit worried about OEL, but I'm glad that McCabe's back. He's going to make a big difference in this series, I think. And obviously, OEL should return sometime soon. He's skating. It's not like he's not skating or dealing with a big injury or anything like that. And it's going to be interesting going into the playoffs now against Ottawa. I mean, 20 years ago, there was a Domi and a McCabe in the lineup as well. So that's going to be fun to watch against the Ottawa Senators. And it all starts tomorrow. And I think, like you mentioned, Hakanpää not even being on the ice after practicing with the group and actually taking reps the last couple of weeks and days, I thought was interesting as well. And I think we have a little bit of clarity, as you can see here too, on who the starter is in the playoffs.
Yeah, Anthony Solars has also, like you mentioned, been confirmed the starter, and I'm gonna be very interested to see what actually happens with the forward groups as well. I know we went over it, but that fourth line, we now have Laughton, the guy we gave up all his picks for, playing the fourth line alongside Yarncroke. And I do ultimately think, just to touch back on that if we could easily see some changes, even if they win, depending on what Craig Berube sees. I think it's a fluid situation for Pacioretty and David Campbell. Let's down below. Would you like to see Pacioretty in or out? And I think ultimately they went with this because of the hot end of the season. They were one of the hottest teams since the Four Nations break and all those different things. So it's going to be interesting on that front. A few other things from practice. You can also see a part of this at the bottom. As you might have expected, the lively Leafs practice today is no nonsense, all business, as it should be. They are obviously, I think it was a 30-minute or so, really hard practice. And of course, they play tomorrow night. And it's very exciting. Calm before the storm a little bit here. And Chris Tanev, it appears he is getting ready by shaving what is left of his beard before it all begins tomorrow. So we're finally at that time of the year. Superstitions are back. Everything is back. And most importantly, of course, the update to OEL is the scary thing. We'll keep you up to date on that. We'll probably have some more clarity, I would assume, on that tomorrow. So if anything drops, we'll keep you up to date. But also, let's dive into the Ottawa Senators a tiny bit. Their lines have also been confirmed, but Travis Green, their coach, it's easy to say we don't have much experience, but I'm not worried about that. Our guys are excited to play. I'm not sure what pressure Toronto is facing. They are a very good team trying to win the Stanley Cup. So any thoughts on the matchup? And of course, Brady Tkachuk did take a stick to the face today in practice, but he's going to be good to go. So it's going to be I know the fan bases on Twitter, around, Reddit, all these different things are already going at each other, talking about who the best players are in the series, all this. Of course, they have Tim Stutzel, they have Brady Tkachuk, all these different guys. And now it's going to be up to the players to perform here. And I know we were talking about it off camera. I mean, they have to win this series. Even just looking at their lines, like this would be a monumental collapse if they lose this one.
The pressure, unfortunately, like Travis Green is saying, is all on the Leafs, I think. And he's not necessarily saying that, but that's kind of what he's alluding to, that he's not sure about the pressure, on the other side in terms of the Toronto Maple Leafs. But in the room, they're just kind of loose and they're wanting to win some games here and they're excited to get going because they're a pretty young team and they haven't made the playoffs with this core group of players, right? So the Leafs, I mean, their backs are against the wall here. They have to win this series. There's no other option. I mean, I'm not saying there's a rebuild behind the wall here if you lose this series, but like things are going to change. So you have to win this series. There's a little bit more pressure on the Leafs, but I think they're ready for that with everything that they've kind of gone through the last couple of years. And in terms of the Ottawa Senators, Travis Green also saying that their lineup is completely fluid. Like it could change shift to shift. It could change, tomorrow before the game. So again, I think that's a little bit of mind games. I'm sure he knows who plays well with who and who he wants with who, but there's some gamesmanship already happening here a day before. So I'm excited to get going. Guys are shaving their beards, getting ready for the playoff beards, all that stuff. So it's that time of year. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, let us know what your thoughts are and leave your predictions down below for the series, and we'll keep you up to date all the way through. And it all starts very, very soon. Stay tuned for all that. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.